Hey everybody, my name is Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Nicoletti Show, where I bring on guests that are real estate super investors, real estate rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in their communities that educate, entertain, and inspire all things real estate on how you can take your company to the next level. Today's special guest I have with me, Doron Nissim from the Tri-County, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beaches. Doron is, in my books, a super investor. He's been in the game for many years. He has his own group down there, Florida Investor Deals. If you find it on Facebook, make sure you check it out. They got great content. He's always posting on there, always posting really good questions that make people think, and investors are posting deals down in the Tri-County area. He is just always bringing class. Every time I talk to him, I always learn something. Doron, welcome to the show, man.
Welcome. Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Good to be here.
I love having you
Happy
on.
to be
And,
here. Yes. Thank you for having me.
it's funny. We met because of a mutual connection.
Right.
And Pablo Gonzalez is a huge networking mastermind up here in Jacksonville. And all of a sudden, randomly on a Sunday, I get a message, with you and him, and he
Mm-hmm.
says something about how this guy Doron was looking for a probate
A
attorney. And so,
probate.
yeah, you message Pablo, and Pablo goes, I'm not a probate attorney, but I know one. And
Right.
ever since then, that day we connected, you have such a creative mind. You know what you're doing. You've been doing it a while. I mean, you're running this group down there. It's super important. And everyone I know would benefit learning from you. So
Mm-hmm.
um, welcome. And for a
Thank you.
background, tell us like who you are, like, what your life was like even pre-real estate and now into real estate, where you have come from and where you are today.
So I started in real estate back in 2008. That was like the boom, the crash. That's when I heard first about real estate. And it's funny that I heard about real estate exactly at that time. It was me and my wife, we had a retail company. Actually, we were selling a lot of products, things like that. And she bought me a book. Guess which book was it?
Which one?
Rich Dad Poor Dad. So
Okay.
that's how I learned about real estate. I didn't know anything about real estate. That was in 2008. So I read about real estate and investing in real estate and rentals and cash flow, things like that. And I was very excited. But I remember talking with my friend, and I told him, well, we can buy properties and rent them and get cash flow and passive incomes, things like that. And he was like, no, you can't. It doesn't work like that. And I was like, okay. So, but it got me excited, and I started to think about it. And I didn't do much that year, but what I did do is I went online. The internet was it wasn't like today. Wasn't a YouTube. There wasn't like Facebook was just beginning. There wasn't any groups, things like that. So I went online and I looked for a real estate investing class, and that was when I was living in North Carolina. And I found one in the community college around us. So I went there, and I met a good friend of mine. He's still a friend of mine, and is a partner of mine, actually. Is a real estate broker. And he was having a small class of, we were like 5 people learning about real estate investing. So that's how I got into everything. He teached me how to look at a property appraiser. What's a property appraiser? How to do comps? How to do this? How to look at houses? Everything. So it was like 3 months, and I learned a lot, and I didn't do much after that. I was searching for properties with his help, because I guess he was trying to sell properties because he is a broker. So that was his way to find clients, which was a good way. It's a great way to market yourself. teaching a class. So
Of course.
we're starting to look for properties, and I think after a year we found the first property. So it took us a year to find a property. We bought it, and that was actually a rental. We didn't even flip it.
Wow.
So yeah, that was my first rental, 2009, and I sold it I think a year ago. So I hold it for a long time.
Wow. So it really generated a lot of cash revenue for you just to hold it as a rental.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you bought it during the 08, 09 foreclosure period
Hmm.
too.
Right.
Did that period of foreclosures have any effect on the purchase? Did you get it at a great deal because of it? Was it just still at the retail value? Was it better to hold on to because of that period you were in? Like, what made you hold on to it so long as a rental versus just maybe like a short-term flip, or what made you hold on to it?
So North Carolina market was kind of delayed with the whole crash and everything. So where I was, and so the crash didn't really damage the market back then, 2008 or nine. But I still got it in a good price because it was a foreclosure. I think it was 20% or 30% under the market, and was in a good condition. It was in a good area, a good neighborhood. So and that's why I kept it because I always had good tenants. Um, but the market went down, I think, around 2013 or 14. So we didn't the market, the value stayed the same. So I think we bought it at 70,000 back then. We put about 5,000 to fix it, and we rented it. And then the value was about 120. So it stayed like that for about 5 years. So after that, it kind of a little bit, little by little, went up and up and up. And then I said, okay, now it's time to sell. I don't know what's going to happen with the market, so I sold it. But I enjoyed more the cash flow than the proceeds of the sale. But um,
Really? Well, that's a
yeah,
good perspective for people because many people think, oh, we just want to flip the deal or we want to hold on to it and do a strategy of rent and get the money from it. So
right,
your whole thought on that was it was better to get the cash flow from it. So
exactly.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, you are in the tri-county of Miami, Broward, Palm
Right.
Beach. You know,
Hmm.
talk to us about how that difference is from North Carolina. I mean, you go from North Carolina to the Miami area, it's a completely different market, completely different than something like Jacksonville. You have
Hmm.
home prices that are probably the highest anywhere in the state of Florida, except if you're on a beach somewhere on the coast, right?
Right.
You can go inland, and the price of a home, maybe in Hialeah or Doral, could be like $200,000. Here, you could get that if you're close to the line. So, talk to us a little bit about that. You go from North Carolina to Florida, the difference and where you're heading with that.
So when I first got to Florida, that was 2012. I was shocked. The market was insane. Everything was, every listing that I talked to, every listing, realtor said, we have multiple offers, highest and best. So I was like, okay. And that was one thing. And then the second thing was the wholesale market. I didn't know anything about wholesale, nothing. So then I got introduced to wholesaling when I got to Florida, and the market was like hot. It was crazy. People were buying, selling, buying, selling. It was moving like, it was insane. Like today, actually. Today's is
Right.
it's insane. You put a property under contract, you can sell it the same day. So, and if you have a good deal.
Right. If you have a
But
good one.
so the tri-county area, Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami, I was focusing on that area for a long time. And in my perspective, that was whole Florida. I thought that Miami, around Miami, Broward County is the most active in Florida. That's what I thought. Then and the prices were good. The margins were great. We're buying and selling, insanely fast. So I loved it. That was like 3 or 4 years. Um, into the market. Then in 2016, I started to see prices are going up too fast. Something is changing. So I started to look at other markets, and that's when I got introduced. It was a little bit before, but I got introduced to Jacksonville market and other places in Florida because I wanted to find better deals.
And you know, what's
Um,
funny is that, backstage when we had talked before,
mhm.
um, the whole expanding your market to other places other than Miami, Broward, and West Palm Beach, uh, the whole COVID-19 kind of made that push for you. I think
Right.
it kind of expanded your market. You said, I don't need to just be a part of Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach. We can go
Hmm.
to Sarasota. We can go to Jacksonville. We can go to Orlando. And it provided a new window of opportunity for you because I mean, if anybody can watch this and see, he's got floridainvestordeals.com. He's got the website about, connecting people in Florida. I mean, this is
Hmm.
Florida real
All
estate.
over
And
Florida,
he's got the
exactly.
yeah, and you got the Facebook group of people
Hmm.
that are investing all over Florida.
Hmm.
And so talk to us a little bit about that. So yeah, you were doing all the investing 2016, you saw the prices going high, 2019 you're flying high, and
Right.
then 2020 hits and that's what opened your mind. Talk to us about that.
Right. So when 2020 started, I thought, okay, I need to start doing things virtually. I can't just go around, drive to properties, see them, and talk to people face to face. I need to change. So when I made a decision, that was beginning of 2020. It was funny because then the COVID hit, and everything got into virtual. Everything got to shut down, and you can only be in your home and do business like that. So it was perfect timing. And by going virtually and doing real estate virtually, you can be in Miami and you can buy houses in New York. You can buy houses in California. You can buy houses everywhere. I made a decision to stay in Florida because I like Florida. I know Florida. It's close to me, close to my heart. It just everything is I like Florida. So I decided I'm going to go and buy and look for properties, look for deals all over Florida, and wherever I can find a good deal, you know, I'll do it. So, so
Right.
COVID was a good thing for me because if it wasn't for COVID, maybe I would keep going, driving, meeting people, and putting that virtual thing in the back burner. But because of COVID, I had to do it. I had to put on, more gas into the virtual thing, and I'm happy. I'm kind of happy it happened. I wouldn't say happy that COVID happened, but I kind
Right,
of
right.
happy that virtual stuck into me, and yeah,
It's amazing because it expanded your mind. And I think it expanded a
hmm,
lot of other people's minds, especially in
right.
the Jacksonville market. I mean, so many people that were doing deals here are now starting to move more into either the smaller counties or they're moving into like the Orlando County.
It's
Or
because big time investors coming to Jacksonville and looking to pay more money in those properties. So prices going up, people in the area going out.
out,
So it's
right,
it's
right.
it's
And people
funny.
like
Hmm.
you are now focusing a lot more on the Jacksonville market. What are some
Right.
other markets that because of 2020 you've really shifted your focus on? Like where do you see a lot of potential and where is the focus? Is it smaller counties, more inland? Is it like the Fort Myers, the Sarasota, the Pensacola? Which areas?
Right. So I think Central Florida, Orange County, Polk County, that area of Central Florida is booming, but it's not in full potential. It's a big area, and I think there is a lot to do over there. So I like that area. I like West Florida, which is kind of like high. If you go to Tampa, it's I wouldn't say it's maxed out, but it's the prices are high. But you can find deals anywhere, everywhere in Florida. You can find deals. It's just a matter of know what you're looking for. and know what your buyers are looking for, which is a big part of the real estate. Either if you do wholesaling, flipping, or even rentals, you need to know what your clients are looking. Because if you, let's say, a lot of new wholesalers, what they do is they go and they look for properties, they put them on the contract, and then they stuck because they don't know what they're going to do with it, who they're going to sell it to. They put a house on the contract for 200,000, but it's only worth 200,000. So what are you going to do with it? They're stuck. So you
Not going
really
anywhere
have
with that one.
right. You really have to know what you're doing, and if a deal is a deal, and then you can move it, because otherwise you're stuck.
So, that's a good point. People that are just starting, wholesalers, buy and hold, whatever kind of style you are, maybe you're just buying land. You've been in it for more than 10 years, right?
Mhm.
So what advice would you give them? Like what words of wisdom would you provide them when starting those deals, when starting to look for that stuff? So you're finding the good counties, you're finding the right areas, but you've been in it a while to see the pitfalls, to see the good, the bad, the weird. Where would you point people? Maybe it's books, or maybe it's just words of Doran wisdom. What is
Mhm.
that?
So when I was starting out, I wish somebody told me that before you're starting into real estate, you got to learn marketing, because marketing is everything. And you need to know how to market yourself. You need to know how to find those clients, either if it's sellers or buyers. So I wish somebody told me that, because I didn't know anything about marketing. Once I started into real estate, and I heard about marketing, or online marketing, offline marketing, things like that, I was like, oh my God, that's like a 50% or 80% of the business is marketing, and I don't know crap about it. So I would say for new people that's starting out, they need to know marketing, because they need to find those sellers. Comes from marketing. They need to find the buyers. That comes from marketing. So first, learn how to market, how to find those deals, and how to find those buyers. And second, you need to know, once you have those buyers, or once you think you have some sellers and they have a deal for you, you need to see, like, look at comps, know how to do the comps, know how to look at the area, basic stuff like, what's the house made from, like if it's concrete, if it's frame, what's the square footage, things like that. So a lot of background on the construction on the area, things like that. So that's new. I would say new investors, new wholesalers, they need to know a lot. These days, people, like, I get to my email million messages, million emails about webinars, how to start in real estate, and those webinars are great, but they don't teach you much. They just give you a lot of excitement, and they give you a lot of sort of information, but they're missing out so much. So a guy starting out, he's thinking that he knows everything, but he will get stuck.
And are you saying, like, just get in the game? Like, because there are those webinars out there that people just want to start real estate. This is how
Mhm.
you do it. They join groups and networking, and then they have a special
Right.
speaker, keynote speaker on talking about this is how you do it. Are you the just start doing it and then learn from there, or is there specific material that you're thinking about, or is it mentoring? Is it JVing with somebody like you? People that would watch this on your Facebook group would say,
Mhm.
oh, well, if I find something, I have no idea what I'm doing. I would really love to get Doran involved, and we just do 50-50 or whatever the thing is, or maybe you shadow them and you come
Mhm.
up with the deal. Is it better that way to just JV, or just keep watching the webinars, which they sound unproductive? So
I would say you always need to learn. So if you learn from YouTube or Facebook or webinars, that's great. But you need the experience, the field experience, people that already did that. So JVing with somebody that already is doing it, closing deals on a daily or monthly basis, which will be good, will be great. Because if you have a deal and you're a newbie investor and you're stuck now with title issues or probate issues or bank issues, and you don't know what to do, uh, eventually you will lose the deal. The deal will fall through. So if you're just starting out, you should JV with somebody that has experience. Even if they're gonna you're gonna split the profits or give them some of your profits, it's okay because you learn. It's like anything else. Sometimes you need to pay to learn, so it's part of the game, which is fine. You know.
There's a saying out there that somebody would rather have 50% of some money than 100% of
Exactly.
no money.
Right, right. So sometimes people will, like me, I like to help people. If people ask me questions, I always try to help them as much as I can. So not everything you have to pay for everything, but if you want somebody to hold your hand, to be there for you, you will usually need to pay them or make them part of the deal, which is
This is when they can come find Doron, right? They come find you.
exactly,
That's why you have this group, right? And the
exactly.
group is amazing because in Jacksonville, there's Yellowbird, there's the Real Estate Investor Associations.
Hmm.
And I've noticed something from Yellowbird, and big shout out to Yellowbird whenever they watch this. They have completely expanded people's possibilities
Hmm.
when it comes to who they work with or who are they're on the group. They're not just a real estate investment firm. It's almost like a philosophy and
Hmm.
of helping others and growing as a community, which is beautiful because it's not just classes, it's not just how you do this, but showing how everybody wants to help others. I had a
Right.
show with Whitney Ritchie. She's an insurance agent up here in the Jacksonville area, and she even echoed that as well, that it's just amazing how it's almost a game that we want to help people, like how do
Right.
we help you better than help the others? It's amazing.
Exactly.
Talk to us about that benefit in the real estate community with your group, with things that you're doing down there,
Hmm.
and tell us where your group's heading. I mean, uh, I love to know.
So yeah, as part of doing the group and being in the group, I get questions all day, every day from people that are either looking to JV or having a question about a property or wanting me to move the property to my buyers, things like that. So I'm always there to help people, and I'm always excited when I see somebody that has a great deal or amazing deal and they're making a lot of money. I'm always excited for them. Um, a part of the group that I was looking or thinking to do is kind of like the deal of the year or making people showing their amazing deals or giving tips to other newbies to get them excited, to get them doing, because some people think this is a competition. I don't think this is a competition between investors. I like to bring everybody together and do it together because I think that's how you're going to be more successful. Bring people together, do things together, and not compete with other people. Like I'll tell you one of my, I would say, biggest deal or worst deal. You can put both of them together.
Love the
So
transition. Go for it. This is content on its own, so let it
yeah.
run.
So when I started in Florida, and I was doing a lot of marketing, a lot of motivated seller marketing, sending flyers, going door knocking, things like that. So I got a really amazing deal in Fort Lauderdale for 10 units building. And back then, I didn't know much. I was just starting out, and I didn't know anything about multifamily properties. I was only buying single family properties, so this was kind of new to me. And also, the market was weird because people were buying, but still there were million foreclosures going in and out. So I didn't know what to do with it. So I put it under contract, and I can say the numbers actually because it was amazing numbers. I put it under contract for 250,000, which is crazy low. Back then it was low, but it wasn't crazy low. So I started showing it to people, and the property was run down. He had a fire in one of the properties. Tenants weren't paying, things like that. the ideal property for investor or for wholesaler. It's like we buy ugly houses,
Right.
something like that.
Right.
So I was excited about the property, but every person that I brought to the property was like, oh, this needs too much work. It will be too much money, things like that. So I was like, what I'm gonna do with it? Then one day, I wasn't around. I was out of town, and somebody called me and said, "Hey, I want to see the property." I said, "Fine, okay, I'll set you up for a showing. I'll send you there. So go see it and let me know what you think." And that was from it with another wholesaler, with another investor that brought the buyer. I said, "Okay, go there, check the property, and let me know what you think." Um, it turned out they liked the property. Everything was good, but the seller was there showing them the property. So, okay, so where's the contract? I'm waiting for the contract. No contract. I get a call from the buyer attorney saying, "Oh, we need this and that, this and that." Okay, I give them everything they want. Couple of days later, and nothing happened. A couple of days later, I talked to the seller, and he's saying, "We're not doing the deal with you. We're out of the contract. Goodbye." I was like, "What's going on? I mean, we have contracts." So he said, "Okay, wait. Are you going to close this weekend?" I said, "No. Well, we need an extension. Let's do an extension." He said, "No, I'm not closing with you. I'm done." So find out a couple of days later that wholesaler took the deal, stole the deal from me, and made 100,000 that I was supposed to make, and sold it to that buyer. So that that's what I'm saying. Some people think it's a competition. I think it's like bringing people together and do the deals together. So eventually, that those people stole the deal from me because I wasn't there, and they made the money, but you know
So
I still know who they are and everything, but I didn't do nothing about it. I'm just saying that some people will do that. I just don't. Um, I don't agree with that scenario. I don't agree with people stealing your deals. I don't agree with people going behind your back. I hate that, and just you know
your reputation is everything in this industry, whether it's
exactly
real estate, whether it's another profession. Your reputation and what you do and how you treat others in your business matters. And see, it had an impact on you, not just on how to do it differently next time, which we're going to talk about that. I want to know like how you change that from
right.
happening next time,
Hmm.
but the fact that you remember who it was, the whole situation, it had an impact on you. And it's so not your character to dive in, take deals like that.
Right.
You are warming to investors, you're warming to other people that want to do deals, and you'll make it happen. And
Hmm.
that's just what part of the market involves, is some of these types of deals that happen that way. Talk to us a
Right.
little bit about what did you do differently on that deal. Like next time you had to be thinking, okay, next time I'm going to build in a clause, or next time we're going to do a memorandum. People want to know that, because what's popular up here are memorandums, that the
Right.
investors file. But what did you do differently?
So what I started to, I was like furious, right? So I was like, that can't be, and what can I do? So part of being an investor, part of doing this as a lifestyle or as a way of life is learning. You always need to learn, and you always need to learn from your mistakes, which is kind of tough because you don't want to learn from your mistakes. You want to learn from other people's mistakes, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here, teaching people to learn from other people's mistakes. So what I did is I learned that there is a way to record a notice of interest on a contract. So what you do is basically after you sign a contract with the seller, you're going to go and record a notice of interest in the county records saying, I have an interest in this property. Whoever wants to buy this property or is going to buy this property needs to call me first, blah, blah, blah. So that's actually cloud the title. So if someone else will try to buy this property from the seller, once they go to close, they're like, uh-oh, we have a problem on title. Let's call this guy and see what's the deal is.
What's his deal? What is this Doron guy here?
Exactly. So it's funny because I just got a call last week about from an attorney saying, "What is this? What do you have on this property?" It's a property in Jacksonville. I was like, "I had a property under contract, and the seller decided not to sell it to me, so I'm still there." So just just let your buyer know that if he wants to buy it, he needs to call me first.
What was the reception of that phone call? Like, was it a well, it's not gonna hold up, or it's gonna hold up, or we'll make sure you get you paid? Like, what was that
Right.
reaction like?
So what usually they say, what's your deal with the what's the what do you have with this property? I mean, why do you have a lien on this property? They call it a lien, which is actually true because I can go and do file a lis pendens on the property with this notice of interest. So I tell them, listen, I had a property under contract, and I was going to buy it, but then the seller decided not to sell it to us, and everything was going smoothly. We were going to close, but they decided not to sell. So now we have the right to buy the property. So if your buyer or if you wants to buy the property, either you need to pay us to release the lien, or we need to be part of the deal with you. It's your choice or the seller choice. You decide what you want to do, and they usually decide to give us the deal back.
Usually, yeah, we're gonna take care of it. We're gonna get you off and get the deal
Right.
done. Wow. So you've
Hmm.
so was that the only tactic you learned from that one, or like what strategies have you taken even after other experiences that help the deals or help prevent situations like the one you went through?
So you can always have them sign the how you call it? I forgot. Uh, the then you can always have them sign. I forgot the name of the addendum. Um,
Doran's a wealth of information, so it's gonna come to his mind. Because if
right.
if 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 it's happened to you before, and if it comes off your mind, just spew it out.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
what I can really tell from you is that because you've been doing it for a while, and you didn't just watch the How to Start Real Estate webinar, you've learned that there's more of a practical side to real estate than there is. Oh, that's so easy. We can, this is
Right.
how we generate cash flow. There's a real game out there that you have to make sure you
Right.
protect yourself.
Right. So you can have them sign an addendum saying, we can go to the seller. We will not contact the seller or the buyers, things like that. You can have them send you their ID. Uh, give you their LLC number, things like more information, so they kind of feel like, okay, you know a lot about them, so they're not gonna cross you out and, and steal the deal from you. But I mean, there are bad people out there. So you need to protect yourself, and I think the best way to protect yourself is putting that notice of interest, memorandum of contract in the county records, and you're good.
Yeah, it's funny. There's one group, Cash Geeks, with
Okay.
Dominic Felix and
Mm-hmm.
Gonzalo Corzo. They've talked about it on the People's Wholesaler show. And
Uh-huh.
then Henry Angeli, he's another investor here.
Mm-hmm.
He's done several YouTube videos on it, and he's another fan of it. So it's funny how, like, hearing you're down in Miami, but now Doran's expanding everywhere in Florida, and the other investors talk about that stuff. While we're kind of in the area of tips and
Mm-hmm.
what to look out for, you mentioned before marketing. um
Right.
Marketing's definitely changed, especially with 2020. But what are some effective marketing tools or effective marketing steps you've taken that have helped get motivated sellers attention? Is it
Mm-hmm.
simple messaging, like, hey, I'm interested? Or is it like a letter? Is it a timeline, like cold calling,
Mm-hmm.
mailers, texting? What have you noticed that has been effective for and for you and your business?
So I would start that all marketing that you do, you gotta be persistent. So you can't do one mailer and forget about it and think that you're gonna get deals out of it, because no, it's not gonna work like that. So it's um, everything that you do by marketing is you got to be persistent. So if you send mailers, you got to send it 5 or 10 times. If you call, you got to call that person over and over and over and follow up and follow up and follow up. If you text them, you've got to follow up. Even if they say don't ever call me again, you got to follow up. I mean, unless they say take me off your list and don't ever. I mean, I don't want to hear from you. Things like that. Then I mean, you wanna be respectful of people. You don't want to bother them too much. But I always say try to, I wouldn't say try, but be persistent. So send mailers, send texts, cold calling, um, door knocking. And 2020, we're talking about Facebook marketing, Google Ads, which is more like 3 years ago, but still Google Ads, Facebook marketing, um, radio shows, radio commercials. I even saw some. Signs on the 95. I wouldn't go that extreme, but some people do that. But yeah, I think whatever you do, you got to be persistent, day after day, month after month, because the deals are going to come to you at least 2, 3, 4 months after you do your first marketing. So um, that's the best tip I can give people: to be persistent with their marketing, to be persistent with their follow up, to be persistent with everything they do. Reach out to those sellers so they will get the deal, you know, at the back end when the seller decide to sell.
Doran, it's funny. What I should have opened up with about you is that you
Hmm.
don't just get deals, you show people how deals can find you. And
Exactly.
that right there, persistence, consistency, follow up is not just how you get the deals, but how eventually the deal comes back to find you
Hmm.
because you were effective at the marketing. And that's where people start separating investors, real estate agents, they separate because of their inability to be consistent
Yeah,
and
it shows
persistent.
serious. It shows that you're serious. That you're here today. You were here last year, 2 years, 3 years ago, and you're still here doing the same thing. I get people calling me from a letter I sent them 5 years ago, asking me, "Are you still buying properties?" I'm like, "I sure am. What do you have for me?" So send me the deals.
There you go. And you just go find Doran, right? You got the group
Right.
and everybody that in that area knows, and then you're gonna be expanding out more into Florida.
Hmm.
Um, you know, one thing we kind of talked also about backstage is, who are you looking for to come find you, right? Like part of the group in your Facebook group, or maybe it's in the Jacksonville group. I can't wait till you either come up for a Yellowbird meeting when we all can go
Hmm.
back, or be a part of the virtual Remo one that we're doing. But who are you kind of looking for, whether it's business partnering, whether it's people roofing, whether it's rehabbers, like
Hmm.
what's that group, you're looking for?
So first, I'm looking for those people that starting out in real estate. They have a deal, they found a deal, and they're like kind of trying to get their second deal, third deal, fourth deal. So I want to help those people. I want to help those investors getting started, making some money, and getting things done, because I know it's frustrating when you do deals, or you did your first deal and you can't get the second deal, or you can just get things going. So I want those people to if to reach out to me, and other attorneys or title companies. I always try to. I reach out to title companies and tell them, listen, guys, if you have a closing and the buyer can close, call me. I want to close that property. I want to buy that property. So I always looking for title companies that are having hard time closing deals. I wouldn't say this is the time because things are just flying, but it will come a time, maybe next year or 3 years from now, that the market will change and things will start slowing down. I don't want it to happen, but maybe it will,
Right.
so I will still be here buying. So, um, so attorneys, title companies, probate attorneys. I love
Mm.
talking to probate attorneys. Um,
We're a unique kind, right?
yes, yes, yes.
I tell you this, so talking about title,
Mhm.
what is either a hurdle of something in title that has really captured your attention? Because getting a deal, locking up a deal under contract with a seller sometimes could be the easy part. And then all of
Mhm.
a sudden you bring that contract to the title company, and that's when it could make or break or take, 2 months, it could take 10 months, it could take 2 years, you know,
Right.
any past experiences you can share on that would be valuable. But what are some things you've learned about title itself that's so critical?
So, things that can hold up your deal, or there are a lot of things that can hold up your deal, title issues that is starting from violations on a property from the city, violations from other government structures, or liens. Either the seller has his personal liens or judgments, or liens from the city, and foreclosures, things like that, that can hold your title, and you'll have to pay the bank or a second mortgage, things like that that you didn't even know. And something that always backs up the deals is a probate, because when you start researching a property that's going through a probate, you never know what you're going to find. You never know how many probates you need you need to do until you can close this thing. So I would say probate. I just and I
Of
when
course,
every
right? Like, of
every
course.
time when I close a probate, I'm like, wow, this was amazing. This is amazing that we closed it. So this year I think I closed about 10 probates, and one of them took us, I think, 2.5 years to close.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a probate that was done, and then there were two other probates that needed to be done for other family members and heirs that didn't agree with the sale, and it just you're gonna, it kind of pushed off, and then there was another family member that was disabled, so they had to get a order from the county to have him approve the sale. It was a mess, and I lost the deal. I think I lost the deal 3 times during that 2 years span, but we closed it. And saying I lost the deal is because other people, when you have a probate, when you're doing a probate, more wholesale or more investor will contact the attorney and contact the family saying, hey, we want to buy this property, we can pay you this and that, we can pay you this and that. And because it takes so long, they'll have a lot of people coming in the way. So every time there's another investor comes in and say, hey, we can pay you more, we will pay you more, we will pay you, if he's paying you 120 180, we'll pay you 200. So the family will call me and say, hey, they're willing to pay 200. Can you go that high? So when they come like that, I would say, no, I can't. This is it's not a good deal for me at 200. So go ahead and sell it to them. But eventually they'll come back to me and say, hey, they didn't buy. They didn't. They don't want to buy it anymore. They think they want to offer us 150. I'm like, okay, I'm still here. Still my offer is still stand. So it happened like 3 times in that 2.5 years, and eventually we closed it.
So let
So
let the record reflect that I did not prompt Doron to talk about probate at all during this conversation, and it's
I love
so
probates. I love probates. It's like it's one of my favorite things to do.
yeah. Talk to us about that, because so I think before I got to Jacksonville, I was doing some of the probates and foreclosures down in Miami. But
Mhm.
coming up here, I saw just a massive market for it. And anybody that watches on the Yellowbirds pages, they go, oh, yeah, they know I do the probate stuff.
Mhm.
But, I had a conversation the other day with Brett McCollum. He's an investor and he does a lot of investing in Gainesville, which is a smaller market. But
Mhm.
when you start getting into smaller markets, it's hard,
Mhm.
especially when you get into the probate world. But he started realizing how great probate was even in Gainesville, and he's kind of
Mhm.
looking in Jacksonville. Talk to us about how that is your favorite niche. Like, what is it about probate that you really enjoy so much on the investing side? Is it the margins? Is it the experience? Is it a life learning lesson? Like, you learn more about how everybody's so unhappy in a family and they want more and more money, right? It's never enough. They want
Mhm.
all the money. Talk to us about that. What do you really enjoy about probate?
So probate is, I think, is other than foreclosure, it's another, I would say, another stream of properties that will have to be sold eventually, because we talk about a lot of motivated sellers. So people have some kind of problems in their life, and they will need to sell their properties, but they don't sell it. But probate is one of those things that they will have to sell the property, and that's why I love probate, because I know at some point the property will be sold. um, Even if the owner or the heir, let's say the heir wants to rent the property for a year, a couple of years, they will eventually, they're not landlords, they're not investors, so they will eventually want to sell it and get out of it and get the hell out of this property. So that's why I like probates, because you can, um, that this deal is gonna go through eventually.
Highly
um,
motivated.
they're highly motivated, not at the beginning. And people, like you said, they want more money. There are a lot of people involved in this, more heirs, more family members, and they always have a realtor on board, a family member or a friend that they always give them the good advice of sell it at the market price.
And
And
sometimes they don't
those,
really know the deal, right? They don't really know like
yes,
what's the rehab, what's really going on underneath. They only see it on Zillow and it's like, oh, it looks so great. And then you go inside and everything's
exactly.
falling apart.
Exactly. And that's another thing about probates. The house always messed up. It always in a bad condition, because the seller lived there for 30, 40, 50, 80 years, and the house is in original condition. So sometimes they're in okay condition, but it's not something that you can sell on the open market and get a retail value for it. So that's another thing why I like probates, because they have to give a discount for a buyer to buy it. Um,
Because they could
so
be worth that much. Like that could be
right.
the value of the
Yeah.
probate estate.
A cash buyer will usually buy a probate because they don't need appraiser, they don't need the bank, they don't need anybody to approve the deal, so they can just buy it. So usually a cash buyer will want some kind of a discount, and that's why I like probates, because you will get a good deal, or you will get a decent deal, and will go through. So
What's been like the biggest challenge though with the probates? I've noticed, I've seen some people, it's either locking up the deal on the contract and getting the heirs to closing if they need to sign deeds, getting paperwork to them. Like, what have you noticed is like the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome in the locking up the deal in a probate situation?
So looking up the deal is not always hard, because you'll have somebody sign the contract. But after that, coming and checking the title and seeing there are other probates that needs to be done, or other family members that leave out of the country or out of the state, and they need to sign things, and they need to approve. That's when things get complicated. Like I have a deal in Miami that I'm trying to I'm trying to close. Uh, which is funny, because that's how we started to talk,
Right.
because one probates got done, everything is good, and we thought we can buy it and close. But then we find out there are two other probates that happen, what I'm saying probates is two other deaths that happened in the family 30 years ago. Now you need to do a whole genealogy to look for the heirs, to look for the family members, to have them sign and approve the sale, and hope that they will be okay with the money that you're paying them. And that's very, it becomes to be very complicated, and sometimes you lose the deals because of that,
Yeah.
because of more things that involved, or more people that involved in the deal and they don't want to sign. So sometimes I would say sometimes that that things can hold up the deal, or damage the deal, so you cannot close, or get a clean title.
They get
Which
complicated.
yeah, which you can say, because I didn't know that, but probate in Florida is something that you cannot get out of the you cannot clean the title unless you do probate. Like, I was starting to think creatively, and maybe we'll do a quiet title, maybe we'll get some title insurance, maybe we'll do this or that. You cannot do anything. There is not even a statute of limitations on probate.
It's
It's
crazy.
six to the title. So I mean, eventually, I guess if they don't sell it and they never pay the taxes or things like that, someone else will buy it at a tax deed auction, and get rid of the family will not get any money.
Right. They may get the surplus from the tax deed sale if it goes like way beyond, and
Right.
everybody's bidding like crazy for a property they've never seen because it's all virtual now. So,
Hmm.
that's happening too. But it's fascinating because, yeah, when you and I connected, I think you said, "Oh yeah, 50% of my deals are probate," and I was like,
Hmm.
"Whoa." That's a huge chunk of what you do is probate. And
Hmm.
it wasn't even like we planned talking about it today. And I love how you're
Right.
just like, it always comes up. It came up with Brett, it comes up with Doran. But it's something, you're right. It's amazing how it's inevitable. Like, it's got to be
Hmm.
done. It's either like tax deed or probate. Right.
Right.
And,
Hmm.
title insurance plays a really big role in whether it can happen or not, and whether there are creative solutions. Lee Kearney, I've actually never talked to Lee Kearney. I've seen some of his videos. He's can't come to the Yellowbird events. He talks about different creative solutions when it comes to either fractional ownership interest or
Hmm.
quieting title. Have you noticed that plays a role in your mind? Because you're mentioning those key words, which is very impressive for an investor to know, to think about those things. What have you noticed about being creative on solutions that you can't come up with?
So the one solution that we came up with is buying part of the deal, buying part of the property, and owning that with partnership with the family, which is for somebody that's open-minded and no real estate and no values, it can work. But if you're trying to find another buyer to buy the deal, they usually won't do it. Or if you want to wholesale that property, they usually won't do it unless they're very, very, very experienced. So that the way to buy a partial property is, if you want to buy it and hold it, and the family will not do, they will never come after you. Or if you buy it and you don't pay the taxes, and it goes to tax deed sale, and you get the surplus money, which can be profitable if the property worth 300,000 and you paid 50,000 for that 50% ownership in the property. You'll get a lot of money at the tax deed sale. So that's another way to do it, which I love, because it's being creative, making money out of nothing. So I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of partition, or,
Hmm.
using that fractional ownership interest to force sales. I don't know if you've ever
Right.
done any of that stuff, but I'm sure that every time you do a deal and you do buy something, and there's always a creative solution in your mind.
Right.
I mean, that you're always
Right.
you're always
You
thinking,
always try to find creative solutions because there are always problems. I mean,
always.
usually, I wouldn't say always, but 85% of the times there are problems in the title, problems with the seller, problems with the house. So you need to be creative. And going back to what we talked about, new investors and problems that they have if they put a house under contract and they have problems, they wouldn't know what to do unless they have somebody experienced that already did a lot of those things, and he can walk them through those situations and get things resolved.
So what Doran
So
basically just said is, if you come across a deal that's not going to work, come find him and he's going to find a solution for you. And then you two
exactly.
can partner on the deal, right?
If there are problems, we can always find solutions. That's my motto. Always find solutions.
Always find solutions. You don't run for the hills right away.
Right.
But I tell
And you
people that
fight for deals. You fight for deals because deals are hard to get. It's not like you're going to the supermarket and buy a dozen deals. You don't. It's hard to get them. So if you have a deal and there are some kind of problems, don't think, oh, I always have problems. I always have this and that. Don't get into that mindset. Fight for the deal, get it closed, and get your profit, because otherwise you'll never do it.
it's almost like an Easter egg hunt, right? Like when you
Yeah.
go on the hunt, it doesn't mean you're going to find the egg. You go in the
Right.
shopping store. I mean, you're getting things off the shelf. So I like that analogy. It's true. Sometimes we don't see it that way because it's like, oh, it's like you have all the leads, right? You'll find
Right.
everything. But you're right.
Hmm.
Eventually, getting somebody to call is a different story.
Hmm.
Backstage, we also talked about your dream project. And I
Hmm.
loved how you talked about, either developing somewhere or doing something development wise. People out there that may be watching this may be able to help you on that deal. Talk to us about your dream project anywhere in Florida and what you want to do.
So my dream project, so I would say our dream project, me and my wife, is to start into development, and that would be to build um, high story buildings, high rises building on the beach. That's what our goal, the end goal is to uh, uh, build those condos on the beach, high rises, and even have mixed use properties, which are part residential and part commercial for restaurants and bars and things like that. Um, we're checking few lots on the coast of Florida, the east coast of Florida, to do that, and we're talking to a few lenders to start doing that. But it's a long process. It's something that we've never done, and but that's our. At one point, we thought maybe we'll start, and we bought a few lots. Maybe we'll start building single family houses, but then I kind of like figured it's exactly what we're doing now, buying and selling or buying and flipping houses. So moving forward, we want to build high story buildings. That's our goal.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that there's still that opportunity on beaches or
Hmm.
on the East Coast, the West Coast, maybe the Panhandle. And you would
Right.
think that, oh, it's all taken up. It's not. It's just there's lots to be built.
There's yeah, there's a lot to build, and there's a big opportunity in that. And we're thinking on creative ways to do it, not just buying a piece of land and developing it. Maybe buying older buildings and renovating and building on top of them, things like that. So that's our ideas and minds are working hard to see how we can do that.
And make that happen. I mean, hey,
Make
anybody
yeah,
could be
make
out
that.
there that maybe owns a lot or maybe has
Mhm.
a seller that sells a lot, and now at least almost you buy that land, at least you hold
Mhm.
on to it, right? Like
Right.
then you can hold on to it, think some more. How do we want to do this? Is it going to be
Hmm.
3 stories? Is it going to be 10 stories? Like you
Yeah.
get time.
Right. Right. Yeah. But you got to have your goal and your idea and something in mind. So it's where you're going for.
Right.
What you're gonna do. And one thing that I don't know is what the market is gonna do next year. after the elections and after the COVID is done and all that stuff, who knows what's going to happen? Everybody's talking about floods of foreclosures and taxes and evictions. So it's really interesting. If you ask me, I don't know what's going to happen. I've seen the crash in 2008, but that was completely different story. This is something else. So I don't know if there will be a crash. I don't think so. Maybe there will be a little bit, you know, going down, but then going up. I think that's the market is going to keep going up. That's what I think. But you know, we'll see.
So it's really up in the air in your mind
Hmm.
about which way it goes. Is it more foreclosures? Is it more tax deeds?
Hmm.
I mean, I think we all know the probate trajectory. If this is going up, it's like this, right?
Right.
It's Florida's only getting older, so that's at least a constant in your
That's a
business.
constant. Exactly.
You
That's
know,
something. That's something that you can rely on. you
what can
know.
I say?
So.
But you
That's
see that at least, and you see that that's the pattern and that's the way it's going. So it's almost like a bread and butter business for you.
right.
But it's interesting how you've been in the game since, I mean, more than 10 years, and you definitely
Hmm.
saw the 08, 09, and then 2013 era. And it's amazing how the vision of where it's going is just so murky for
Hmm.
you. And, hopefully we get a clear vision, or maybe we don't, right? Like,
Yeah, talking with other investors, other people that doing a lot of deals, they're saying like they don't see anything changing. They see everything like moving forward very strong. They see the markets, moving up, going up in prices. So that's from my friends, my circle, everybody's talking about the market is great, and but thinking back 2008. 2007, everybody was like in high, saying the market is amazing, and then all of a sudden everything crashed. So we'll see.
wow, amazing. Well, you'll
Yeah,
you'll let everybody know as we go on the Facebook group, Florida Investor
right.
Deals. Um, if is there anything we haven't talked about, whether it's the real estate lifestyle, any tips, like telling people how investing is possible? Is there anything we haven't covered you would love to share? Stories, experiences, any last words of wisdom?
There are a few things. One thing, like I said, when you real estate is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. It's more of a. It's not a job, that's for sure. It's more a way of life, and a way of doing your business, doing your day to day stuff. So, as part of doing living real estate, you got to learn always. You got to attend classes, courses, going to meetings, always talk to people and see what they're doing, because that's what's going to give you an edge on other people, older people, or other people that not doing that and they're in their cubicle doing deals. So always network, always talk to people, and always learn more and more and more about real estate, about title, about marketing, all everything that involve real estate, and in anything like construction. So always try to educate yourself, meet people, and invest in yourself. It's something that like an attorney or a real estate agent or a doctor, you always have CEs to do, continuing education. You always have updates. You always have this and that to do. It's part of being a license, but having a license. But as a real estate investor, you don't have to do anything because it's up to you. But if you want to be up to date, if you want to be at the top of your game always and not be stale, you always have to learn, go to courses, go to classes, learn more, talk to people, because that's what's going to give you the edge in your business. Um,
Well, I mean, I can tell you this. I can't wait for the day that we all open up, COVID kind of comes to a conclusion,
Mhm.
and you actually have an in live group, whether it's once a year or twice a
Mhm.
year, and you have really special guests that come.
I
I can
have you as a guest.
I'm in. I'm already in. I'm already
Right.
ready to speak. But I can just tell that you think outside the box, and you're not just the how do we get started in real estate. Like, you're gonna have people there that speak that are gonna be uh minds. The minds are gonna be amazing there. They're
Right.
gonna
Helping people and, getting you think creatively, getting you think about real estate in other ways that you don't think, because there are so many things that you don't even know, and you don't think they're in existence. So there are a lot of things to learn always.
always, you can never
Hmm.
stop learning. You are a student of real estate your
Right.
entire life, which is the lifestyle. It is the way of life. Doran,
Right.
it's amazing having you on the show. I've loved it. I've learned even more. I never expected to get into the probate. It's so funny how it always comes up. It's an amazing conversation. And thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking your
Thank
time.
you. Hmm.
And how can people get in touch with you? Facebook, social media, the group, everybody joining the group. Talk to us about that so they can get a hold of you.
So yeah, the group is Florida Investor Deals on Facebook. It's pretty easy to find. We're about 3,500 members right now, and we're growing every week. So it's amazing group. You can always ask questions, reach out to me, reach out to other members. It's amazing. And so that's one way to reach out to me. You can look me up on Facebook, Doron Nissim, or on Instagram, uh, or my email, which is on the group. You can find it as well. So I'm always open to people to talking to me, texting me, or asking me questions. So and always open to comments, suggestions, remarks, anything. So
Everybody's going to be messaging you. How do we
right.
get deals? How do we do this? How do we get involved? That's great. Yeah, that you're the go-to for this, especially how unique the group is that it's not just nationwide investor.
Hmm.
It's Florida.
It's
You've
for
niched almost
Florida.
like what I'm doing. I'm going talking to Florida movers and shakers and real estate
Yes,
people. So
because I'm it's what I care is Florida, and what I care is the real estate in Florida, the real estate investing community in Florida, and so that's where I'm pushing. And I want to do that we talked about once a year or twice a year. I want to do the annual meeting for Florida investor deals, where we're going to bring everybody to that meeting, to that place, and we're going to do a deal of the year. Investor of the year, things like that. It's I'm just putting it here out there so people can know. Be prepared for next year. We'll do that, and hopefully I want to give more information and more help to people out there that doing deals or trying to do deals. So that's why I have the group. So reach out to me, reach out to Al. uh,
there we go. I mean,
we're here.
yeah, we're definitely. I mean, whenever you have that group, it is going to provide so much value to people and so unique, right? It won't be a once a
Mhm.
month or twice a month, or it's going
Right.
to be like that one we all show up at, and it's going to be
Right.
an incredible event because I know you're going to have an amazing lineup, and
Hmm.
people are going to benefit from it from all over Florida, and even people that
Right.
are out of state that are interested
Yeah,
in
that
Florida stuff.
interested in Florida real estate, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Doran, again, thank you so much for coming on, taking your time today, and,
Thank
and,
you.
and talking about all Doran, Florida Investor Deals, the group, and your experiences in the real estate world. Super invaluable to people that are watching, and I hope everybody takes what they can from it and runs with it.
Right. Yeah, I'm here to help, and always here.
Very
Thank you.
great. Doron, thanks so much. Hey, everybody,
Thank
if
you.
you want more content like this, check out the Al Nicoletti YouTube channel. Got plenty of videos on there. Share your stories, comment below, share your experiences. We always want to hear what's happening. And next time, I'll see you on the show. Just remember that don't go find deals. Take action so deals find you. I'll see you next time.